And we're back. Great to have you with us, my friends. Rush Limbaugh serving humanity. How? By being here, essentially. And speaking. 800-282-2882 if you want to be on the program. The email address, lrushmo@eibnet.us. You know, I mentioned this earlier and I dropped it. I intended to give you the details. Newsweek magazine, Trump could destroy... Remember now, the premise, or the, shall we say, the daily soap opera script narrative that is alive and kicking today. We've moved from Trump colluded with Russia to steal the election, and there's nothing there. And now with the Wolf book out, saying Trump never wanted to be president, it kind of blows to smithereens the idea he would cheat with the Russians to win when he didn't want to win. So we moved off that to obstruction of justice, the firing of James Comey, and the Mueller special counsel investigation is still digging into that. But now we're back to something that was originally floated shortly after Trump was elected and has sporadically appeared and then vanished. By the way, do you know what's not in the news the last 2 or 3 days? What is not in the news the last 2 or 3 days? Anything to do with Hillary. Anything to do with Huma. Anything to do with emails, corrupt FBI employees, corrupt DOJ employees, the Clinton Crime Family Foundation, all the so-called... There's one story that DOJ, the FBI is still investigating all of that, but it's a story from Friday. That is all vanished. Every bit of this Hillary news, which is where the real collusion was, it's all gone. And what has replaced it? Trump is unfit. The Wolf book. Trump is insane. Trump is inattentive. Trump doesn't work hard. Trump watches TV all day. Trump didn't want to win. Trump is uninformed. Trump is dangerously imbecilic. Trump is like a child. Trump is this or that. And gone is anything to do with the Hillary news. So we're back here to the idea that Trump is unfit, unqualified, not smart enough, therefore is dangerous, is deranged, may be genuinely unstable, psychologically so. So it is in the midst of this that we have the story from Newsweek. Trump could destroy the entire human species, says Yale psychiatrist who warned Congress members. President Trump's mental health might lead to the extinction of the human species. The Yale psychiatrist briefing lawmakers on the president's psychological state told Newsweek last Friday. Her name is Dr. Bandy Lee. She said, if it were possible, we would be declaring a public health emergency that needs to be responded to as quickly as possible. This is not hyperbole. This is the reality that Donald Trump could lead to the extinction of the human species. Now, who is insane? Who is uncoupled and deranged? This Yale psychiatrist obviously is. This same psychiatrist, though, met with more than a dozen members of Congress, all Democrats, back on December 5th and 6th. There was one Republican there. She actually met with Democrat members of Congress. Her professional warning was Trump is going to unravel, and we are seeing the signs. And when he unravels, that's when we should all look out. That's when we can't even fathom what he might do. Now, according to her online bio, Dr. Bandy Lee does not have a degree in psychiatry. Yet here she is testifying or talking to members of Congress. And Newsweek magazine is a clinical psychiatrist from Yale diagnosing Donald Trump and his potential extinction a wiping out of the human species. She does not have a degree in psychiatry. She is an assistant clinical professor at the Yale School of Medicine's Law and Psychiatry Division, where she has been teaching students studying to be public defenders and to become asylum attorneys. This woman passing herself off as a psychiatrist is actually a clinical assistant teaching students how to be public defenders to defend those seeking asylum in America. Meanwhile, she's now trying to make a career out of calling Trump crazy. She has been ranting about Trump's mental unfitness since last February. She has repeatedly declared that he is the most dangerous man in the world, supplanting and replacing me. That's what they used to call me. After a series of tweets from Trump that appeared to threaten North Korea with nuclear war, Lee and hundreds of her colleagues issued a statement calling into question Trump's mental health and psychological fitness for the presidency. Bandy Lee is Korean American. And she's not as concerned about Kim Jong-un. She's South Korean. And she's not even concerned about Kim Jong-un. No, Donald Trump is the problemo. Lee said that she and other contributors to the book believe their writing doesn't violate they diagnose Trump, even though they've never met him. You know, there's this thing called the Goldwater Rule. Have you ever heard of the Goldwater Rule? The Goldwater Rule, they did this to Goldwater. Folks, they thought back in the 60s Barry Goldwater was insane. They thought Ronald Reagan was insane and lunatic and dangerous. They thought George W. Bush was stupid and an idiot. It's the same page of the playbook on any time there's a Republican president, and now they're doing it with Trump. And back in the Goldwater era, there were people, it's very dangerous for you psychiatrists to be analyzing this man. You haven't even met him. You haven't even had a session with him. And so the Goldwater Rule was essentially a prohibiting of publicly analyzing in a psychological, psychiatric way patients that doctors had not seen. And these doctors are saying it doesn't matter now. This situation is so dire that we can't afford not to give you our professional, considered opinions on the insanity of Donald Trump. And our fear that he could lead to the extinction of the human species. These people are, you want to talk about dangerous? They are deluded. But they're serious. The Daily Caller. Yale psychiatry professor Bandy Lee has been raising concerns about President Trump's mental health for over a year. Suggested in a new interview Trump should be physically contained for an urgent evaluation to determine his mental state in a Vox interview published on Saturday. Reporter Eliza Barkley asks Lee, okay, so you're calling for an evaluation. You're serious about that. How could he possibly be evaluated since it seems like he wouldn't voluntarily do it? Dr. Bandy Lee said, we encounter this often in mental health. Those who most require an evaluation are the least likely to submit to one. That's the reason why in all 50 states we have not only the legal authority, but the legal obligation to contain someone, even against their will, when it's an emergency. So in an emergency, neither consent nor confidentiality requirements hold. Safety comes first. And so Democrats on Capitol Hill are actually talking to this woman.